Good morning. Great morning, wonderful morning, spectacular morning, standing morning, magnificent morning. Yes, it is. Matter of fact, it's even supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's that way because I choose it to be so, the same way that you can choose to be so for any moment of your life. Think about it. You get to accept, reject ideas. You get to give meaning to everything that is fundamentally meaningless. It's just like what William Shakespeare shared. Nothing is good or bad, but it's our thinking that makes it so. And why is that so important? Why do I repeat this so much? Well, because that's how you gain control over your life by shifting the narrative inside, by shifting your perception, by changing how you view the world. When you change how you see things, your world changes. When you change what things mean, your world changes. And from that comes the life. And that's been so beautiful to dive into as we've been studying this beautiful gem here, Out from the Heart. We have these two books here. And by the way, if you don't have a copy of this, make sure you do get a copy of it. And yes, buy it. Yes, read it. Yes, study it. Yes, underline it. Yes, highlight it. Yes, memorize it. But most importantly, you got to use it. With that being said, in this book here, Out from the Heart, there's a line that I love so much. And that line is, from the heart proceeds the life. From the heart. What's in the heart? What's in the heart is what you believe to be true, the habits you have, how you see things. That's the inner narrative inside. And that is another beautiful way to think of life. And that is from within outward, because that's the way life happens. It's not from the without in, it's from the within out. And the way that you can prove this to yourself practically is just look around you in the room you're in right now. Look at all the things in the room that you're in right now that were made. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. All things were made by imagination, and without imagination was not anything made that was made. See, that's something from within. This world of the physical is a world of effects. It's the externalization of thought. In other words, those results are there because somebody saw the idea in mind and they were loyal to that unseen reality. Their perception was that of, yes, it's done. I could do it. It's finished, which then led to that outcome. Now, think about that for you when it comes to how much you earn, what you do for work, your lifestyle, relationships, all of it. If you want that to change, if you want to change how you're feeling most of the time, you've got to deal with the cause. And that cause is inside. You must build it in your own mind first. And that's what we teach here at Elevitality. That's what both Dolly and I stepped into when we entered the realm of Bob Proctor. And he taught us about these wonderful things like paradigms and the spiritual world, how everything starts in the mind. And because we used it and we applied it, we delivered change in our lives. And it led to the creation of Elevitality and everything that you're experiencing right now. It led to, my gosh, the beautiful life-changing epiphany of how there's no such thing as self-sabotage. And there is no such thing as self-sabotage. This book is one that you need to have too as well, by the way. This is a liberator. And it's something that you should have for not only yourself, but for someone else who's actually seeking to feel free and understand what's really causing the problems in their life, which is all within. With that being said, again, still, even with the sharing of that information, it's still going to come down to using it. So, our invitation to you is to use it as if your life depends on it. You know why? Because it does. All right, so we're going to be diving into this beautiful gem in just a moment. But I want to read something that I glanced at this morning from actually Neville Goddard. And it ties into attention, which is your will. Remember, when you have a strong will and a big imagination, oh my gosh, you can accomplish so much. But what does he says here? He says the power of attention is the measure of your inner force. Concentrated observation of one thing shuts out other things and causes them to disappear. The great secret of success is to focus the attention on the feeling of the wish fulfilled without permitting any distraction. All progress depends upon an increase of attention, focus. Remember, you have 6 higher mental faculties: imagination, perception, reason, will, memory, and intuition. The ideas which impel you to action are those which dominate the consciousness, those which possess the attention. Oh my gosh, that's so good. That was in The Power of Awareness in the chapter of attention, which is chapter 6. Anyways, why am I bringing this into play? Well, because you focusing and holding the ideas that are in harmony with how you'd love things to be is how you're going to deliver the change. Now, how it ties to what we're studying here in this, well, it ties beautifully to it, because what I'm sharing with you is something that you've got to get attention to, something that you've got to connect with. And with that connection, you'll start seeing the change. All right. So, you guys ready? Type in the comments. I'm ready. Ready? Here we go. Okay. Am I going to share the print, Lisa? I'll send it in the screenshot. I'll send a screenshot of that in the chat. Okay. All right. Here we go. You ready? Here we go. Boom. All right. So this is something that we left with in the last session, and we went over it in depth. And I want to emphasize this first sentence again, because how important it is. And remember, this has everything to do with you delivering the change that you seek. Okay. He says, the lesser must thoroughly be grasped and understood before the greater can be known, and practice always precedes real knowledge, a deep knowing, which is really a beautiful understanding, because that's what he's really talking about. He's not talking about knowing as if I know something. No, he's talking about that feeling inside words. That's deep, deep knowing. Now, the emphasis here that needs to be brought to the surface more than ever is that practice always precedes real knowledge. Okay, practice, what is that? That's application. The way you get good at anything is through practice. You've got to apply. This is why being in the right environment matters. This is why having the right material matters. This is why having order matters. This is why having the right people to lead you who have done it before matters. With all of that in play, when you have that and you practice doing what you're instructed to practice, guess what changes? Your results. Because of that interconnection with what's being shared. It's kind of like this. I say, like, I was a coach for health and working out, which I'm not, but anyways. But if I gave you instructions and I told you specifically what to practice for you to build your muscle, if you didn't go through it, you wouldn't build your muscle. See what I mean? It's very simple. Now, with this being said, the other thing I want to emphasize is that the lesser must thoroughly be grasped and understood before the greater can be known. Now, here within these calls, Master Your Mind, yeah, we go in depth, and this is the lesser when it comes to you developing a greater understanding of the change. The next phase for big, beautiful changes, implementation and guidance. In other words, getting into your discomfort zone with the proper guidance, which is what emergence was created for. See, this here is where a lot of the information is. The implementation, that's the beautiful container where you implement it. And you implement it specifically in sections. And again, the example that I'll share with you, just think about, for instance, the first golden rule that we put into play before we actually work with anybody, the golden rule of application. You must use what we say for you to use. You must follow our instructions. Do what we say to do. And when I say do, I'm talking about what's happening in your mind, and you do it repeatedly, daily, in an orderly fashion, consistently. And then next thing you know is it becomes something that's automatic. And when you move to the next, it works like a compounding effect. Now think about that. Compounding is amazing. It's incredible. So with that, grab onto what's being said here with this. Now, the lesser must be thoroughly grasped and understood before the greater can be known, and practice always precedes real knowledge. And then we'll go through the rest of this paragraph too before we get into the next one, which we didn't read. Now, the schoolmaster never attempts to teach his pupils the abstract principles of mathematics at commencement. He knows that by such a method, teaching would be vain and learning impossible. Oh, yeah, we're just going to throw you into algebra. We're going to throw you into all of the higher things without you understanding addition and subtraction. That's craziness. Doesn't work. See, a really wise teacher would not do that. He first places before them a simple sum, and having explained it, leaves them to what? To do it. Think about that. Very simple, something very simple. Just do this. Don't worry about the other stuff. You'll get to algebra. You'll get to all those greater things in mathematics later. Let's just get you to understand this basic thing. See, that's what we do. Like, for instance, emergence. Okay, a lot of people want the change to happen really fast, but what we dive into, hey, just study this first. Study the golden rule. Application. Yeah, but you know what I want to do? Just hold on a second. Just study this for a week. Nothing else. The golden rule of application. Think about how simple it is. Boom, you just study that. And then we go to the next part. See, that's what a really wise teacher does. Now, before we proceed, I need to make an announcement for those who are watching this live stream and are tapping into this and are seeing that this is actually really valuable and you've been thinking about it. Stop thinking about it. Just decide. Decide right here, right now. Go to elevitality.com and register for Master Your Mind. You'll thank yourself later. Okay. Now, let's go back to this.